Hi everyone, this is Jason Matthew from WeCanEduTech, where we make using technology in education simple. Today, we're going to be doing a few things. First, we're going to record a meeting in Zoom, and then we're going to take that recording and upload it to Google Drive. And then finally, we're going to create a shareable link for that recording in Google Drive that we can give to someone else, and they will be able to use that link to access and view the recording. So let's get straight into it, guys. So first things first, we click on our Zoom desktop client. I go to the top menu here and I click on meetings, and I go to my trusty Zoom demo meeting. I click on that, and then I start this meeting. I click on join with computer audio. And I'm going to turn my camera on so that we record everything. So hi guys, Jason Matthew here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to start recording this meeting now. So if I click on the record button, because I have a paid account, it has two options: record on this computer or record to the cloud. Now, if you have the free account, the only option you will have is to record on your local machine, on your computer's hard drive. And that's the one I recommend a lot of the time. So we're going to be looking at the first one, record on this computer first, and then I'm going to come back and we'll look at what happens when we record to the cloud. So I'm going to start the recording, and when you're having your actual meeting, it is also good policy to alert your participants when you're going to start the recording so that they know that the recording has started. So I'm going to click on record on this computer. And as soon as I do that, if you look at the top left there, you see that there's the red dot there. It's recording. You could pause the recording or you could stop the recording. So because this is a quick demo, this is going to be a very, very short meeting. Oh, wait, let's do a few things. Let me open the chat here. And I'm just going to say, hello, everyone, because I want to show you that that you are saving also the chat. So I'm just gonna put those things there. And all right, so now I think we're good. We will now stop the recording. So I click on stop. And as you can see, there's a confirmation here saying the recorded file will be converted to an MP4 when the meeting ends. So remember that the recording is only processed when you end the meeting. So if we continue talking here for the next hour, 2 hours, the recording will not be processed until we end the meeting. So you'll see as soon as I click on end meeting and I end the meeting for all, you will see a prompt coming up saying that it's going to process the recording now. So let's do that. Let me click on end, and I'm going to end the meeting for all. Now, as you can see, the prompt came up and it's saying you have a recording that needs to be converted before viewing. Now, mine will go really, really fast simply because it was a very short recording that I did. If you have a normal meeting that may take much longer, should take much longer, it will take longer to process. Now, as soon as the recording was processed, you see that this folder automatically came up that has all the information of that meeting's recording. So let's look at the different files that Zoom has saved for us. The first one is audio only, and as the name suggests, what Zoom did was just extract the audio. So everything that was said in the meeting, that's all you're going to get. So it's just, and that will be one of the smaller files. All right. So for instance, let's say you had a Zoom meeting, but it really didn't have any screen sharing or any videos being shared, or the cameras weren't on. It was just two people or a few people having a conversation. Then this might be your most important file. Also, you can see if I double click on the chat text, let's double click on that. You see that it recorded what I had typed out in the chat group, which was hello everyone. So that's there as well. So like for instance, let's say you had a very active chat session for that meeting and you want to save that whole chat there for future records. You have it there. You have, and the most important one for a lot of people is the .mp4 file. So that will be the actual video file. Now, just for just to see how it looks, if I right click on it, I can open it with a small little program called VLC. VLC is a free video player, and we can just look at the meeting. And as soon as I do that, if you look at the top left there, so that was the meeting that we recorded there. So there's the MP4 file. Now sometimes you are willing to share this on your Google Drive right away so you could start working on the file. But let's say that you close off this folder here. Oh no, it's lost forever. No, it's not lost forever. You can retrieve it. And you could actually retrieve it by just opening up your good old friend, the Zoom desktop client. So if I click on the Zoom desktop client, let's go back to the top here. If I click on meetings, but this time, instead of having the upcoming tab selected, which will tell me all the meetings I have coming up, if I click on recorded, it will then send me to all the recordings that I have made so far. Now today is the 17th of February. It's 3:22 a.m. So I had this meeting at 3:16 a.m. Now if you see, I click on it. If I go over to the right side, it has a few things. If I want to look at the recording, I can just click play video. If I just want to listen to the audio, I can play audio. If I want to get that same box I had before where I can look at the different files, all I have to do is click open. And there are all my Zoom recordings from in the past, but this one is highlighted because this is the one that we just did. So I click on it, and there are the different files that we just spoke about. This is another way in which you can get your recordings that you have saved on your computer. Now I'll tell you, by default, Zoom saves all the Zoom recordings by default in your My Documents folder. So if you have a Windows computer, it will be in your My Documents folder. Click on your My Documents folder. You should have a Zoom folder in there with all your recordings. Similarly, for the Mac, go to Documents. You should have a Zoom folder there with all the recordings. But you could also do like what I did, which is pull up the Zoom desktop client, go to Meetings, go to Recorded. You'll see all your recordings there as well. That is recordings that you save to the computer, that is. You will see later on, I'll show you all, for those of you who do save to the cloud, how you will access that. But for now, we're looking at the recordings that you save directly to the computer. And also, when you are finished, you can also even delete the recording when you're finished. So this is the first step of it. We have recorded the meeting. Zoom has saved it to your computer. Now the next step is that we want to take this file and upload it to Google Drive. Now you might be asking a very reasonable question, but why Google Drive, Jason? Why do we want to go all through this trouble to add it to Google Drive? Well, if you are an educator like me, and most likely your institution has the G Suite for education, it means that whether you know it or not, if you have the G Suite for education, it means that you have access to a Google Drive that has unlimited storage. And it means that we could put all our recordings inside there. We never have to worry about deleting them or worrying that it's going to take up, we're going to run out of space. It's unlimited storage if you have the Google Suite for education, that is. Now, one way in which you can know if you have the G Suite for education is that if you have a school email that is it's a Gmail address, but it ends with your institution name. So like for instance, if it ends with .abchighschool.edu, for instance, that is an indicator that you might have the G Suite for education. But the best way to find out is to ask the IT person at school if you all have G Suite for education. But as I said, the benefit of Google Drive is the unlimited storage if you have that type of Google Drive. So without any further ado, let's get to our Google Drive. Now, you might have never used Google Drive before in your entire life, but if you have a Gmail, whether it's a regular Gmail or is it G Suite for education, you have a work Gmail, you already have a Google Drive, whether you know it or not. All Google accounts come with a Google Drive. So like for instance, right now, one way in which you could access your Google Drive is by just simply logging into your Gmail. Now, as I said, if you have a work email as a Gmail and ends with your institution's name, .edu, something like that, most likely you have the G Suite for Education. That is the one you want to use because that Google Drive has unlimited storage. I click on the grid of dots here, and that will give me access to the other Google apps. Now, if I click on that, there's email, there's a few other things here, but right at the top, there's Google Drive. That's the icon there, and you just simply call it Drive because everything here is owned by Google. So you just click on that, and this opens up your Google Drive. So you might be teaching a few classes. So what you want to do is to devise a proper way of naming these files and folders so that students know where to go and what to get. And I mean, you devise whatever works for you. But like one of the things I'll do is that I'm going to create a folder inside my Google Drive. So I click on the new button and I choose folder. I click folder. So it says, give me the name of this new folder. And I'm going to call it, let's say I'm teaching Form 4 Biology. And I'm going to even put my name as well. I am all about making sure it's as clear as possible for our students. And I click create. Now that creates the folder Form 4 Biology. Now I could double click on that folder. So now I'm inside of the Form 4 Biology folder. Now let's say I'm going to be having a Zoom class every week. So I'm going to create a subfolder in there and each folder will represent one of those weeks. So you could go back to the new button here, click on it and click on folder again, and that's going to create a subfolder. Or you could just right click in the white space there and click new folder. So you have different ways to do the same thing. And what I'm going to say is week 1, and I'm actually going to put a date for this week 1. So this was February 15th to, let's say, February 20th. And I click create, and that creates my subfolder. Now that I have that folder, you know what's the next step. You could create a folder for every new week. So by naming it this way, you have folders for each week. So the student knows, hey, I'm in week 1. So I'll go into that week 1 folder and everything in that folder will be in relation to week 1. So now let's go back to our Zoom recording. I want to share this Zoom recording here. Now, if I just put it as Zoom 0 again, we want to name these things so that, it makes sense to your students. So one of the things you might want to do is you don't want to get a name too complicated. So you could just right click on it and then click rename. And one of the things that you might want to do is actually put a date. So we could put February 17th. So at least they know that was the class recording for the February 17th. Now, once you have it there, you can, using your mouse, you can click on it, keep your finger on the left click, and then just drag it over to that folder. Now, once the folder is highlighted, that means it's going to go into that week 1 folder. I release my finger from the mouse, and it goes in. And there you see there's that box there saying it's uploading one item, less than a minute left. And again, remember my file was very small. When you do an actual meeting, the file size is going to be a little larger. One tip to tell you all is that be careful about if everybody cameras on. More cameras on means more complexity in the video, means a larger file size. So if you want to keep your file size small, one of the things you can do is ask your participants to turn off their cameras if it's not essential for the class that you're doing. I get a green tick, that means that has been uploaded. I can actually go into the folder if I want, double click on the folder, and there is the file. There are a few options. When a student going there, they can double click on it. See that there's the red dot there. All right, so because my file was, small enough, it was processed right away. But again, as I said, the larger the file size, the longer it would take for Google to process it. But this was very small. So you see it comes up right away. There's even a little picture of me there. You see there's a play button. So the student just has to click play and it will play the file. And you could use the breadcrumbs at the top here to return to whatever main folder you want. So like for instance, if I want to go back to the Form 4 folder, I click on it, and I can now create a week 2 and a week 3 and so on. Again, you will do the nomenclature and the classification to your class and your needs and so on. I'm going to go back to my drive. And one of the things that I would want to do that I should have done is create a folder saying Zoom recordings. So it means that I'm going to put all my Zoom recordings in this Zoom recordings folder, including my Form 4 biology. I just click on it and drag it over. And now if I click on Zoom recordings, it has my Form 4 biology class. I might have a Form 5. And guys from the US and so on, we use forms here in Trinidad. You all use grades, depending on where you are, we say different things. So let's say I had a Form 5, Form 5 math class. And again, Mr. Jason Matthew. And I click create. And now that's my Form 5 math class. And I can put the recordings for those class sessions inside there, just like the same way I set up week 1, week 2, and so on. So let's recap what we have done so far. So we have successfully recorded our meeting. We have successfully saved the meeting to the hard drive of our computer. It's locally saved. We have created class folders in Google Drive. And we have uploaded one of our recordings into the appropriate folder in Google Drive. The last thing that is left now is that we need to be able to share this recording with our students. So for instance, we would want to share the recording of our Form 4 biology class with our Form 4 biology students. So how you do that is that you go back to the Form 4 biology class folder and you right click on the folder. And there you'll see a few options. Now, the one that we are interested in right now is share. So you click on share, and then you're going to get a few options here. So in the top here, you could add the emails of all your students there, and it will be shared to them. So that's a kind of difficult way to do it, but that's an option there. Or what you can do is you can get a shareable link. There are a few options here in terms of getting the link. So you click on it. Right now, it's restricted to only people added can open with this link. So it means that only the people that we added on that line that I showed you before. But let's click on the drop down arrow there and see what other options you have. If I choose the WeCanEduTech option, it means that anybody who is within the WeCanEduTech domain, when they click on the link, they'll be able to access the files. If someone is outside the domain, whether or not they have the link, if they have the link and they click on it, they will not have access. You have to be in the WeCanEduTech domain. So like for instance, let's say at your school you have G Suite for Education. It means that anybody who has a Gmail with the school's name in it and stuff, they will be able to click on the link, access the files. Anybody else who gets the link, they won't be able to access the files. And then you could choose the third option, which is anyone with the link. Now, this is a common one that people tend to use. It means that once someone gets that link, they will be able to access the files in that folder. Now, this might be handy, especially like if you want to share the link with parents and so on who will not be part of the institution, and they would still be able to view what's happening in the class and so on. So I click done. What has happened is that we have changed the conditions for the link. So we are saying right now that anyone who gets the link will be able to access the file. We haven't copied the link as yet. So let me right click once more. I click on share. As you can see, the new settings is there. Anyone on the internet with this link can view it. And then I click copy link. Now once I click copy link, it will copy to your clipboard. So you see link copied. It's copied to your memory. Let me open up a Word document. If I right click on this Word document and I click paste, there is the link for that Form 4 Biology Mr. Jason Matthew folder. So whoever clicks on this link will have full access to whatever is in that Form 4 Biology folder. They will not be able to access anything else in the Google Drive. They won't be able to access, for instance, the Form 5 Math folder or any other folder you have there. That link is specific to the Form 4 Biology folder that you have created. So right now, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to log into another Gmail account and use that link and show you what a student will see. All right, so when a student receives the link, they can click on the link. And when they click on the link, you see only the Form 4 Biology folder opens up in their Google Drive. So as a teacher, you don't need to worry that students, just because you send them that link, they will be able to see everything in your Google Drive. They are only able to see what you share with them. So I shared with my students the Form 4 Biology folder, so they could only see what's inside of the Form 4 Biology folder. They can't see inside anything else that you have in your Google Drive. So as a student now, if you click on the week 1 folder, there we go. There's the recording. I could click on the recording and click again play. And as soon as I do that, if you look at the top left there, so you see the student will see the recording. And remember, you have to do it in a way that it makes sense to them. So he knows that this is the class that was on February 17th. And he knows this is the recording. So I'm going to close off my student account and I'm going to go back to where I'm a teacher. Compare the two folders, the Form 4 Biology and the Form 5 Math. You see there's a little kind of person in there in that folder. That's an indicator in Google Drive that you are sharing a folder. Now, if you watch in the Form 5 Math one, there's nobody in there. It's a normal folder with one gray color. And that means that I'm sharing that folder with nobody at the moment. But the Form 4 Biology, I've already created a shared link. And the beauty about this now is that once you give the students the link to the Form 4 Biology folder, it means that anything that I put in that folder from now on, they have access to it. I don't have to send them another link anymore. They have the link to the Form 4 Biology folder. So once I open the Form 4 Biology folder by double clicking on it, I could add more files in here and stuff, and they will have access to it once it's uploaded. You don't need to send them any more links. So for instance, if you create a week 2, if I create a week 2 folder, let's say, when I create a week 2 folder and I put the recordings for week 2 in there, you don't have to send the students a week 2 link because the parent folder, the Form 4 Biology folder, was already shared with them. So anything new that goes in that folder, they will be automatically updated on their end. So you don't have to do anything else. So that's the beauty of Google Drive. Now, I showed you that you could share the link via email. And some people will share the link via WhatsApp or other social media. Depends on what you have available to you. Another way in which you could share the link is you could actually put the link up on your learning management system, the LMS. So if you're using Moodle or Canvas or Edmodo or Schoology, I think they call it. All of those different Google Classrooms. You could put a link there and they will have access to it as well. Remember, nomenclature is a big deal. Name these things so the students is easy for them to follow. Now, once you have uploaded the recording into your Google Drive and you have tested it, it's working, it's playing, and everything is good, what you can do is go return to your Zoom desktop client. Under recorded, you see the recordings there. What you want to do is delete that recording. So what's going to happen is that it's going to delete it. So you say you are permanently deleting this recording from your computer. This action cannot be undone. And you click delete. And that's fine because what you have done is that you have freed up the space on your computer's hard drive. And you can do that because now the file is in Google Drive. And once it's in your Google Drive, look, I deleted it, but if I go to my Google Drive, it's still there. All right, it's saved to your Google Drive. Remember, Google Drive is what we call cloud storage. So it's saved in the cloud. So it's no longer on your computer anymore. It's saved on the cloud, which you could consider Google's computer. It's on Google's hard drive. You don't have to worry about taking up space on your computer anymore. So you could go ahead, go in the desktop client, and now delete the files. So like these are some old recordings. I could delete these as well. All right. and free up space on my computer. Now look at this recording. This recording was done earlier on at 1:14 a.m. This was before this was just something I was just trying to. Now if you look, it just says open. And the reason for that is that this one was saved to the cloud. That's why you're not getting the other options. Now if I click open, you see it opens my web browser and it carries me to the Zoom web browser where it has the file there. If ever you click on recorded and you see the name of the meeting, but you just see the option to open alone, that's because you saved it to the cloud. So I'm going to do it again just to show you all how it works. So this now is that what we're going to do now is that we're going to save our recording to the cloud and show you how you could get that to Google Drive. All right, so I return to my Zoom desktop client. I'm going to pretend like I'm doing the meeting for the first time. All right, so the time is 3:53 a.m. So that's when we're going to start the meeting. I'm going to click on meetings. I want to start a meeting. I don't want to look at the recording. So I'm going to click on upcoming. And then I'm going to click on our trusty Zoom demo once again. And I'm going to start the meeting. I'm going to click start. Join with computer audio. So I'm going to turn my video on. And then I'm going to click on record. And this time, instead of recording to my computer, I'm going to record to the cloud. And remember, this option is only available if you are a licensed account, if you have a licensed account. So I record to the cloud. So you see it's connecting to the server, it gives me confirmation, it's recording again, and it's way too late to be awake right now. So that's my message. I'm recording to the cloud, it's a test, and now I'm going to stop recording. So after stopping, you'll receive an email notification when the cloud recording is ready. All right, so I confirm, stop recording. And then I will end this meeting once again, end meeting for all. So very soon, because it was a short recording, I should get an email confirmation saying that the recording has been processed. All right, so you see I got a message from Zoom saying that my cloud recording is ready to access. Hi, Jason Matthew. For the host only, click here to view your recording. So I click on that link. And there we go. We have the file that we can download. Now, the thing is that I didn't do the chat and so on, but you could have gotten the other options here. Now, you could share the link from here directly, but what will happen is that you're going to be taking up space in your cloud, in the Zoom cloud, which costs money and so on. The idea here is that you're going to download the file and then carry it over to your Google Drive, where if you have the education suite, it's going to be unlimited storage. So you might as well put it there instead of taking up clouds, instead using the Zoom cloud and have to spend extra money for that. So you can see here, you can download the file. And once you download the file, you see it comes down here. I can just click show in Finder, and I have the file there. And you can do the same steps as we discussed with the local computer, if you're stored locally on your computer, and transfer it to Google Drive. All right. And then the other important thing here now is that you want to free up this space on Zoom, on your Zoom web portal here. So you click on the trash can next to it, and it says move all files of this recording clip to trash. Yes. All right, guys. So as educators, if you have the Google Suite for Education and you have a Google Drive that has unlimited space, my advice to you all is to save locally on the computer, then take that recording and upload it to your Google Drive and delete it from your computer. And of course, share it with your students. That way you don't have to worry about your computer running out of space. It's in the Google Drive where there's unlimited space and you can store as much recordings as you want. And you don't have to worry about deleting anything. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And check out all our other videos on Zoom. Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.